The path of transformation is not for everyone. It is not a road paved with comfort, nor is it predictable. There are no guarantees, no shortcuts, only the raw, untamed reality of growth. A chosen woman is not meant to remain in the familiar, trapped by the expectations placed upon her. She is called to something greater, something beyond the confines of what she was taught to believe about herself and the world. Deep within her soul she feels it. A pull, a knowing, an undeniable force whispering that she was never meant to stay where she is. But to answer this call is to step into the unknown. It means surrendering the safety of who she once was and embracing the uncertainty of who she is becoming. It means walking a road that few dare to take, one that is often walked alone. Society conditions people to conform, to fit into pre-existing structures, to seek approval, to remain within the boundaries of what is deemed acceptable. But a chosen woman cannot be confined by these rules. She is not here to follow. She is here to lead. She is not here to settle. She is here to expand. And the moment she dares to break free from the mold, she will realize something profound. The world she once knew no longer fits her. The people she once resonated with may no longer understand her. The conversations that once excited her may now feel empty. The places that once offered comfort may suddenly feel too small, too limiting for the woman she is becoming. This is the price of transformation. But for a woman who is called to something greater, it is a price worth paying. When a woman begins to awaken to her higher self, she cannot remain attached to the old version of herself. The thoughts, habits, and relationships that were built around that old identity begin to fall away. At first, this can feel like loss. It can feel like isolation, like abandonment, like she is being stripped of everything she once knew. But in reality, she is being set free. She is being given the opportunity to become who she was always meant to be, without the weight of expectations, without the pressure to be someone she is not, without the limitations that once held her back. Walking alone does not mean she is truly alone. It means she is walking ahead. It means she has stepped into a level of consciousness that not everyone is ready for. The further she goes, the fewer people she will find on that path. But those who are meant to meet her there will. Those who vibrate at the same frequency, who are on a similar journey, who understand the depth of her transformation, these are the ones who will align with her in time. But she does not wait for them. She does not slow down to make others comfortable. She keeps moving forward. Most people resist change because it disrupts the illusion of security. They would rather stay in a life that feels familiar than risk stepping into something unknown. But a chosen woman knows that the unknown is where all possibilities exist. It is in the unknown that she discovers her true power. She does not need certainty. She does not need validation. She does not need permission. She only needs trust, trust in herself, trust in the process, trust in the infinite intelligence that is guiding her. There will be moments when the solitude feels heavy. There will be moments when she questions whether she made the right choice, whether she should have stayed where it was comfortable, whether it would be easier to ignore the calling. But deep down, she knows she could never go back. She knows that once she has seen beyond the veil of limitation, she can never unsee it. She knows that every step she takes forward is a step toward the life she was destined to create. This path is not for the weak. It requires courage. It requires surrender. It requires a willingness to let go of everything that no longer serves her, even when it feels like she is letting go of everything she has ever known. But the chosen woman does not fear this process. She embraces it. She understands that solitude is not emptiness. It is space. Space to grow, to evolve, to become. And in that space, she finds her true self. She walks a path that few understand. While the world moves in patterns of approval and validation, she moves in the direction of truth. She does not wait for permission to grow, to heal, or to evolve. Because she knows that the moment she begins seeking validation from others, she gives them power over her transformation. She understands that true change happens within, in the depths of her own awareness, beyond the opinions, judgments, or expectations of those around her. Most people live their lives looking outward, measuring their worth by how they are perceived. They seek approval in their choices, reassurance in their decisions, and confirmation that they are on the right path. But a chosen woman knows that waiting for external validation is a trap. The moment she looks to the world to define her, she becomes a prisoner of it. She refuses to be confined by the opinions of others, because she understands that people will always see her through the lens of their own limitations, their doubts, their fears, their conditioning. None of it belongs to her. Her healing is hers alone. She does not need the world to acknowledge it for it to be real. She does not wait for someone else to tell her she is worthy, she is strong, or she is enough. She already knows. She does not need applause for her growth, nor does she seek recognition for the battles she has fought in silence. She is not on this journey to be seen. She is on this journey to become. And becoming is an internal process. It is something no one else can validate, because no one else can fully understand the depth of her transformation. She has learned that when she stops seeking approval, she becomes untouchable. She no longer reacts to criticism, because she knows that it does not define her. She no longer bends to the expectations of others, because she realizes that their approval is not the foundation of her self-worth. She does not explain herself. She does not justify her choices. And she does not shrink herself to fit into spaces that were never meant for her. She has freed herself from the need to be liked, understood, or accepted. Instead, she chooses to honor herself. There was a time when she sought validation, when she questioned herself, when she allowed the voices of others to make her doubt her own. But she outgrew that version of herself. She realized that people will always have opinions, that their approval will always be conditional, and that if she allows their voices to dictate her path, she will never be free. So she made a choice to detach from the need to be validated, to trust herself even when no one else does, to walk in her truth even when it is misunderstood. This path can be lonely, because most people are not taught to trust themselves. They are conditioned to look outside themselves for answers, to follow the crowd, to seek reassurance before they take a step forward. But she is different. She does not wait. She moves. She listens to the quiet knowing within her, and allows that to guide her, even when it makes no sense to others. She has learned that the more she trusts herself, the stronger she becomes. She is not rebellious. She is simply free. Free from the need to conform. Free from the weight of expectations. Free from the illusion that her worth is determined by anything outside of her. She understands that the opinions of others are fleeting, that validation is temporary, and that the only approval she will ever need is her own. She has reached a place where she no longer seeks to be understood, only to be true to herself. And in that truth, she finds everything she has ever needed. Letting go is not easy. It is uncomfortable, uncertain, and at times painful. But a chosen woman understands that she cannot move forward while clinging to the past. She cannot step into the fullness of who she is meant to be while carrying the weight of who she used to be. She must release the relationships that no longer align, the beliefs that no longer serve her, and the environments that no longer match the frequency of her growth. This process is not about loss. It is about making space for new energy, new experiences, new opportunities that are aligned with the version of herself she is becoming. Growth demands change, and change demands release. Most people resist this because they fear the emptiness that comes with letting go. They fear the quiet, the solitude, the unknown. They hold on to familiar patterns, even when those patterns limit them. They stay in places that drain them, surround themselves with people who no longer inspire them, and cling to old identities because they are afraid of what will happen if they release them. But a chosen woman knows that holding on to what is no longer meant for her is far more painful than stepping into the unknown. She understands that not everyone will continue on this journey with her. Some relationships were only meant to last for a season. Some connections were based on an older version of herself, one that no longer exists. She does not hold resentment for those who cannot walk with her into the next chapter. She simply allows them to go. She does not beg for understanding. She does not seek closure. And she does not try to force those who are not meant for her to stay. Instead, she honors the lessons they brought. She acknowledges the role they played in her growth. And then she moves forward. Letting go is not just about people. It is about shedding limiting beliefs that were once deeply ingrained in her mind. It is about recognizing that what she once believed to be true may no longer align with the person she is now. She releases the idea that she must always be who she has been. She lets go of old fears, of self-doubt, of the need for external validation. She understands that in order to create a new reality, she must rewire her thoughts, change her emotional state, and elevate her energy. She does not cling to outdated ways of thinking simply because they feel familiar. She embraces the unknown, trusting that on the other side of release is expansion. The environments she once found comfort in may no longer feel like home. The conversations that once excited her may now feel empty. The spaces she once thrived in may begin to feel restrictive. She listens to this feeling because she knows that her spirit is guiding her towards something greater. She does not ignore the signs. She does not shrink herself to fit into places that no longer align. And she does not resist the calling for more. She allows herself to outgrow what no longer serves her, knowing that what is truly meant for her will always find her in its right time. This process can feel lonely. There will be moments of discomfort, moments where she questions if she is making the right choices, moments where the space she has created feels too quiet, too unfamiliar. But she trusts that this space is necessary. It is in this space that she rebuilds herself. It is in this space that she aligns with her highest self. She understands that letting go is not an act of loss, but an act of creation. It is in releasing the old that she makes room for the new. And in that space of surrender, she steps fully into the woman she was always meant to be. Mastery is not something given. It is something earned. It is cultivated in silence, shaped in solitude, and refined in the stillness of deep inner work. The chosen woman understands that true self-mastery does not come from blending in, from following the crowd, or from seeking external approval. It comes from standing apart, from walking a path that few are willing to take, from silencing the noise of the world and turning inward. She knows that if she is to rise into her highest self, she must be willing to be alone. She must be willing to separate herself from distractions, from superficial connections, from environments that do not support her evolution. She must create space for her own thoughts, for her own energy, for her own transformation. The world is full of noise, opinions, expectations, fears projected from others, endless distractions pulling people away from themselves. Most people live their lives in reaction to this noise, allowing it to shape their decisions, their beliefs, their sense of self. They absorb the energies of those around them without questioning if those energies align with who they truly are. They become trapped in patterns of comparison and cycles of seeking validation, in the illusion that their worth is tied to how they are perceived. But the chosen woman sees through this illusion. She understands that the only way to truly know herself, to truly master herself, is to step away from the noise and listen to the voice within. Isolation is not loneliness. It is a sacred space, a necessary separation that allows for deep transformation. In this space, she begins to see herself clearly. She is no longer influenced by the expectations of others. She is no longer shaped by the conditioning of the past. She is no longer pulled in 1,000 directions by distractions that do not serve her purpose. Instead, she is fully present with herself. She confronts her fears, her doubts, her insecurities, not to be consumed by them, but to understand them, to master them, to rise above them. There are no shortcuts to mastery. It requires discipline, patience, and an unshakable commitment to the journey. It is not about perfection, but about awareness. Awareness of her thoughts, her emotions, her energy. She learns to regulate her mind, to choose her responses instead of reacting impulsively, to cultivate a state of inner peace that is not dependent on external circumstances. She no longer allows the opinions of others to dictate her path. She no longer seeks permission to be who she is meant to be. She no longer waits for the world to validate her choices. She moves with certainty, with confidence, with a knowing that comes from within. There will be moments of discomfort. There will be moments when she feels the weight of solitude, when the temptation to return to the familiar pulls at her. But she does not waver. She understands that this solitude is shaping her, refining her, making her stronger. She embraces the silence, because she knows that in this silence, she finds clarity. She listens, not to the voices of the world, but to the voice of her own soul. And in doing so, she steps fully into her power. She does not need to be understood. She does not need to be accepted. She does not need to explain herself to those who cannot see what she sees. She simply continues forward, knowing that mastery is a path few are willing to take. She walks it anyway, because she knows that this is where true transformation happens. In the space where she stands alone. In the space where she listens. In the space where she chooses herself. Over and over again. She was never meant to follow. She was never meant to fit in. From the moment she chose herself. From the moment she decided to evolve beyond the limits of her past. She stepped into a new reality. One where she no longer seeks validation. Where she no longer conforms. Where she no longer molds herself to fit into spaces that cannot hold the depth of who she is becoming. The chosen woman does not chase acceptance. She does not shrink herself to make others comfortable. She does not hold on to relationships, beliefs, or habits that no longer align with her evolution. Instead, she becomes a force, an energy, a presence that cannot be ignored. She no longer needs to belong to the world around her, because she has created a world within herself so powerful that it begins to shape everything outside of her. She radiates a frequency that calls in new opportunities, new connections, new experiences that match the level of her transformation. She does not chase. She attracts. She does not force. She allows. She does not beg for doors to open. She walks with such certainty that the right doors open naturally. Her energy is her power. It is not something that can be imitated, copied, or contained. It is the result of the deep work she has done. The countless moments of solitude. The commitment to becoming the highest version of herself. And as she rises, everything that is not in alignment with her new frequency naturally falls away. At first, this shedding may feel like loss. The friendships that once felt like home may begin to dissolve. The conversations that once felt fulfilling may start to feel empty. The environments she once thrived in may now feel restricting. She may find herself standing alone, not because she has been abandoned, but because she has outgrown what once was. She does not resist this process. She understands that the more she evolves, the less she will relate to old paradigms, to outdated ways of thinking, to mindsets rooted in fear, doubt, or limitation. She releases them with grace, knowing that she is creating space for something greater. And then something shifts. The loneliness she once felt turns into a deep sense of peace. The solitude she once feared turns into a sacred space of power. Power. She no longer craves belonging, because she realizes that she was never meant to fit in. She was meant to lead. She was meant to show others what is possible. She was meant to be a beacon of transformation, of strength, of unwavering self-belief. She does not dim her light for those who are not ready to see it. She does not hold herself back to make others feel comfortable in their stagnation. She rises unapologetically, knowing that those who are meant to walk with her will find her by the energy she emits. She moves differently now. She speaks with conviction. She acts with purpose. She trusts herself in a way that is unshakable. She no longer asks, "Am I enough?" because she knows that she always has been. She no longer seeks answers outside of herself, because she understands that every answer she has ever needed is already within her. The more she embraces her power, the more effortlessly she attracts people and experiences that align with her highest self. She does not need to prove anything, because her energy speaks for itself. This is the power of becoming. She does not follow trends. She does not conform to expectations. She does not seek approval. She simply is. And in being fully herself, in radiating her truth so powerfully, she becomes the kind of presence that cannot be ignored. She becomes a beacon, and the world around her begins to shift, not because she has followed it, but because she has shown others that they too can rise. She no longer needs validation. She no longer needs permission. She no longer needs to be understood. She moves through life with certainty, with purpose, with an unshakable trust in herself. She understands that power is not about control. It is about presence. True power does not need to prove itself. It does not need to seek recognition. It simply is. And because she embodies this, She attracts everything meant for her effortlessly. She no longer chases. She no longer begs. She no longer fights for a place in spaces that were never meant for her. She has created her own space. A space where she belongs fully. A space where she is free. Free to grow. Free to expand. Free to be. She does not lower her standards to be accepted. She does not shrink herself to fit into small places. She does not hide her brilliance to make others feel comfortable. She rises. And in doing so, she gives others permission to do the same. She knows that not everyone will understand her. That not everyone will be ready to meet her at this level. And that is okay. She does not force them to. She does not explain herself. She does not justify her evolution. She simply continues, knowing that those who are meant to be part of her journey will find her. That those who are aligned with her energy will naturally be drawn to her. That those who are meant to walk with her will recognize her. She trusts the process. She trusts herself. She trusts the timing of her life. She understands that the universe does not operate on human timelines. That what is meant for her cannot be rushed. That what is aligned with her cannot be forced. She no longer struggles against the flow of life. She moves with it. She surrenders to it. She allows it to unfold naturally, without resistance, without doubt, without fear. She knows that what is truly hers will never miss her. That what is not meant for her will always fall away. That every ending is simply a new beginning in disguise. She no longer sees loss as failure. She sees it as redirection. She no longer sees obstacles as punishment. She sees them as lessons. She no longer sees challenges as setbacks. She sees them as opportunities to grow. Her perspective has shifted. Her mindset has evolved. Her energy has transformed. She is no longer who she used to be. She has stepped into her highest self. The version of herself that is limitless, unstoppable, unshakable. She no longer looks outside herself for answers, for direction, for confirmation. She turns inward. She listens to her intuition. She follows the whispers of her soul. She understands that she is her own guide, her own healer, her own source of wisdom. She no longer doubts herself. She no longer second-guesses her decisions. She no longer allows fear to dictate her choices. She moves boldly. She moves fearlessly. She moves with intention. She understands that fear will always be there, but she does not let it control her. She acknowledges it, but she does not allow it to hold her back. She has learned that courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite it. And so she moves. She keeps moving. She does not wait for the perfect moment. She does not wait for everything to be certain. She does not wait for the fear to disappear. She takes action. She steps forward. She trusts. She knows that every step she takes leads her closer to the life she is meant to live. She knows that every challenge she faces makes her stronger. She knows that every obstacle is preparing her for what she is destined for. She embraces the journey. She surrenders to the process. She understands that growth is not a destination. It is a way of being. She no longer seeks an endpoint. She no longer chases a finish line. She simply lives. Fully. Freely. Unapologetically. She has become the woman she was always meant to be. And she continues to evolve. Because growth never stops. Because transformation is a lifelong journey. Because she is infinite. Boundless. Endless. She is free. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights on relationships, attraction, and understanding human behavior. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.